Welcome to our first tutorial, which is the Blender interface. When you start Blender, this is what you get, the default Blender scene. Just for information, this screen that you're looking at is just a section of the screen, and during the tutorials, will be scrolling around like this. Now, I'd like you to click the middle mouse button, that's also the scroll wheel which doubles as a middle mouse button, and drag, and you'll see that this scene is actually a full 3D scene. This is a camera here. If you right click on anything in Blender, that tends to select it, and a left click confirms the selection. That's a light that you see there. Click the middle mouse button and drag, and you can see that this scene has a light, a cube and a camera. Now if I scroll the image down here so we can see this panel at the bottom, click on the view menu and you see that that shows user. That's because we've rotated the view so that our view is a user chosen view. We can change to the front view, which we select there as you saw, and now the view we're looking at is directly to the front of the scene. If we come down to view again, you'll notice there's also number pad selections to the right, like the camera view is number pad 0, which I've just selected. In the camera view, the inner dotted area is the safe area in a television screen. The outer dotted area may possibly not be on somebody's television screen. That's what that's there for. At the top of the window, come up to the render menu option, and we'll do render current frame, which is F12. And if we come across and look at the result, well, we can see our cube solid, not very light, not very well lit. We need to look into that. Not a very good scene. So what do we do to change it? Okay, what I'm going to do now is come down to the view option again, click on view, change the view to a top view. If I now scroll back so you can see, there's our top view. This is our lamp. Right click, as I said, to select, then we press G on the keyboard to grab, drag the mouse to where you want, and left click confirms the position. If we now come up to the render current frame, or we can press F12, we can render that frame. If I show you what's now it's a little lighter. You can see there's actually a brighter light on top, but the other two sides are still dark. So we really need to light this scene a bit better. So if we come down now to the scene, right click on the light to confirm that it's selected, and then press Shift and D on the keyboard, which duplicates the light. It automatically puts into drag mode, so if you drag it across and then left click to confirm and then Shift D again, so now we've got three lamps. If we come down to view and we look at the side view, or number pad 3, we can check the height of these lamps. They're pretty high, which is why most of the light was on top on our first rendering. Right click to select the lamp, G to grab, drag it with the mouse down, left click to confirm the position, and select these other lights and just move them to slightly different positions. Remember, we're looking at the side view, and you can look at the top view in a minute, or you can do it yourself now that you know how to on your scene. Now if I press F12 to render, it's looking a bit better. Our cube, although it's only got the default grey colour, is now lit a bit better, a little bit more realistically. We've got light on a couple of sides. Okay, now that's not a great render, but let's imagine that was a fantastic scene. We want to save it. It's important to show you straight away how to save images that you've created. File, as you should expect, come down to Save Image on the menu here, or hit F3. Now this is slightly different to Windows, although slightly different but familiar. There's your path to where our file will be saved. The P key there takes you up to the parent directory, and the pop-up actually tells you that. Click in the grey box underneath and we type in our file name. Now Blender doesn't actually automatically put in the file extension, so you have to put in the file name, full stop, and then JPG for if you're saving it as a JPEG file, which is selected by default. Click Save JPEG on this button here over to the right. Click it once, that selects the name. Click it a second time to close that box, and that has now saved that image that we rendered to the disk in the location that you specified. Now, as you've noticed, we have to keep changing the view on this window to manipulate the objects. It'd be much better if we had other windows. If you move the mouse up to the dividing line, you'll notice it changes to a double arrow. Right click gives you these menus, split area and the other options there. So right click on it, click split area, and you see this line that we can now drag to left or right. We can actually choose the position, confirm with the left mouse button, and now the window is split into two. On the left here we have a window, on the right we have a window. Currently they both show the same view, so let's change the one on the right to the front view, or number pad 1. Incidentally, the windows are active when the mouse is over them. Unlike normal Windows programs where you have to click to make the window active, these windows are active as soon as the mouse is over them. This one I'm changing to the top view, so it's view and top. So now with this left window is viewing the top of the scene, and the window over to the right is viewing the front of the scene. Now, if we wanted to make another window, we bring the mouse in from the left and do split area. You'll notice that it puts the line to the left because we came with the mouse from the left. If we go over to the right and move to the center and then right click when it's got the arrows and split area, we get the line dividing to the right. If you want to change it, you just press escape, and that's pretty common for Blender. When you haven't committed with the left mouse click, if you press escape, that clears your selection. So we'll go ahead and divide the window here. So now we've got 3 windows, which is what I tend to use for a lot of my modeling. You can choose your own layout, whatever suits you, and you can change it on the go, and we'll show you other things about that in a moment. So we're actually going to change this view to a side view. So now we've got a side view, a top view, and over here to the right a front view. And we've decided we like this layout, and we'd like it to start like this every time we start Blender. For example, we've got 3 lights in the scene, we've got a cube to start modeling with. If you hit Control and U, you get this come up. Remember, it's left click then to confirm, save the user defaults. So that means every time you start Blender now, at the moment, with the way you've set it, it'll open a scene exactly like this. Now this screen 2 model up here, the screen's window, you'll notice if you click this selector here, there's different preset selections. There's one for animation, which opens a particular window. I don't you worry too much about this now, just to know that it's available. There's also one for material, for example, where the default settings, default window for setting up materials on an object. But for the moment, we'll change it back to the model window, which we've modified slightly. Now I want to show you different ways of viewing the windows and of moving around them. If you choose, well, say the front view window here that we have, come down to the bottom to this panel here. You see we've got a little wireframe in the option. If we change that to solid, and then we use the middle mouse wheel to scroll in, click the mouse wheel or the middle button and drag like we did earlier in this tutorial, you can scroll around the scene. If you hold down the Shift key and then click the middle mouse, you can drag the view and you can see it better like that. Well, thank you for completing this introduction tutorial, because it will help you in the next sections as we move on and build more interesting objects. Thank you.